Okay, in this Texture Animator plugin tutorial, we're going to cover how to create a video file from the rendered image sequences. And what we do, if you don't have, of course you can do it in After Effects or any number of other software, but in this case we're going to use the freeware blender and the video editor that it has, which is it's a pretty powerful feature in Blender. First off, I'm going to delete out the default geometry. First thing we want to do is, here's the image sequence. There's 149 frames, or rather 150 frames. It goes from 0 to 149. So we want to see, we'll want to match the same dimensions as our image sequence. So in this case the dimensions are 1000 by 800. So back in Blender, for under resolution, we want to set that to 1000 for X and Y to 800. Our starting frame is going to be 0 and our ending frame is going to be 149. Frame step is 1, and the frame rate in this case, our frame rate is 30 frames per second, because in our Daz scene that's what our frames per second was set at. If you do it differently, it'll either run a little slower or faster, depending on how big of a gap there is between the original rendering and what you have it set here. But you want to match it up if you want the speed to be the same, which in most cases you do. So in this case we set it to 30 frames per second. The next thing we want to set is under output. I'm going to use, for movie file, I found the one that works the best for me with the best quality is Apple QuickTime. So I always set that to H264, and under encoding, under format, I select QuickTime. And the next thing we got to set is the output, and that's where our movie file will be created at. In this case we're going to do it right on the desktop. So we select our desktop, and you want to type in the name of your movie file. So in this case it's going to be Stargate Puddle. Oop, we got a little, once in a while I get that message on my computer. I haven't had time to do it, but okay. Well, anyway, you type in the file name you want, and then you also want to type in the file extension. So this is Apple QuickTime, so it's going to be .mov, so MOV, and then you click accept, and that part's all set up. So under here you want to select video editing, and we get this nice little screen here. I always hit the rewind switch, so it's at the starting frame. If it's not, when you add your image sequence to it, it'll be offset a little bit. So always make sure you're at your very first your starting frame. So first thing we need to do is add image, and then we go to where our image sequence was rendered out to, and what we want to do is we want to left mouse click and drag to select all these files that make up our image sequence. So you see they're all highlighted. Set our starting frame to 0. Ending frame, there's 149 images in the sequence, so our ending frame is going to be 149. And clicked add image strip up here, and that adds your image strip to channel 1. And let me zoom, if you zoom in a little bit here, and we'll play the animation. And that's the animation that I made up. Okay, if you wanted to add something else to the image strip, like an effect, or if you wanted to change something about it, there you got effect strips. You can change the transform. You can add all kinds of things to it. Also sound files, they'll be added to other channels. Like say if we wanted to change the transform, we add effect strip transform, and that adds a transform strip. And with that, you can select your blending mode for it. There, the opacity, you can change the opacity. Like say if we want, you can raise and lower the opacity of your movie file. Channel, that's the channel that the transform set is sitting on. It's on channel 2. And down below here, you can change your position, X, Y, the scaling, the rotation. You can trim the duration, filtering, also colors. There's a modifier strips. So if you want to change if you want to add a curves to it, you can add curves, and you can change it around RGB or darken it up. Like, whoop, oh, I kind of messed that one up. So I'm just going to delete that one out because I don't want to use that. But just so you know, you can add color balance, curves, hue, correct, brightness, contrast, or even a mask to it, depending on what you want to do. In this case, I don't want to. I just wanted to show you that. So I just select that strip and hit delete, and select the erase strip so it gets rid of it. So we're all set to render. So I always just make sure I'm on the first keyframe, and then we already set up our other information under the default panning, screen. Under dimensions, we set our dimensions. One thing I forgot to set was the percentage. We want it at 100%. So we start keyframe at 0, end at 149, frame step is 1, frame rate 30 frames per second. We got our file location set, and it's going to be rendered to Apple QuickTime. So we'll go back here into video editing, then just click render animation, and down here is a little preview as it's going, and it does a pretty nice job. It's pretty fast. So we'll minimize that, and here was the movie file we just created. I'll play it, and as you can see, it does a pretty good job. Quality is pretty nice, and as you can see under properties, it's with no soundtrack. It's pretty small, 2.16 megabytes. So it's a kind of a nice little way of creating movie files from your image sequences rendered in Daz Studio, quick and easy, without buying other software. So that's it of this tutorial, and thank you for watching.